My name is Ekpo Temple. Welcome to Atlantic Television Network. It's Sports Extraordinary on Thursday evening. And of course, it's time to bring you all the electrifying stories popping out from the ever-exciting world of sports. On today's edition of the show, our focus will be on the last round of the UEFA Champions League, as well as some tickle results popping out from the Nigeria Premier Football League match day 23. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. Ekpo Temple is your host for today, and I'm so excited that we're bringing you this just 24 hours after we saw some, mouth-watering encounter across different centers in the European continent. Kinsley Emmanuel is here in the studio with me tonight, and of course, we'll bring you all the exciting stories and results from the UEFA Champions League. Kinsley, it's a beautiful evening. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, nice to be here, and of course, we'll look forward to see what comes up. In the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Yesterday was a very impressive one. We saw some teams putting up some impressive performances, especially the likes of Benfica. This season, UEFA Champions League promises to be an exciting one. I will look forward to see how the round of 16, the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, pan out at the end of the day. Nice to be here, Temple.
All right, quickly, let's start with tennis. Of course, the 14th edition of the Australian Open is still going on, and a lot has transpired in the last couple of minutes, a couple of hours, I beg your pardon. We saw some mouth-watering encounter yesterday. Novak Djokovic aiming to have a standalone 25th record of the Grand Slam. Is just too lucky this time around. Things that used to happen to him is now happening to his colleagues and his opponents. For twice now, he's had to be saved by retirement. And I'm just wondering, if you want to win a 25th Grand Slam, he's been playing so badly. And I love the fact that he admitted that it is not how bad, or that he's injured. It's just that against Jakob Menchik, against Lorenzo Musetti, we have seen that he's not at his level at all. These guys are better off, but somehow he's just lucky to have injury concerns debarred the other players not to go to the next round, and so he continues. Now he's in the semi-finals. He's made a record for himself, no doubt. But then, look at his exploit. Look at his zeal. He's going to play against Yannick Sinner. Will he be fortunate to have another, concerns of injury on Yannick Sinner to go through to the finals? Many are just wondering.
I don't think, he's going to be lucky this time. This might probably be the end of the road, for Novak Djokovic, because he can't be lucky for the third time. Sinner is going to really give him a run for his money. I don't think there's going to be injury issue, for Yannick Sinner. I don't think he really has that serious, injury issue. But understand the weather has not, of course, really been friendly down there in Australia, but I don't think that will be something that will affect Yannick Sinner. So, for the way Djokovic has played, in this competition, the man has not really showed that much, tenacity. We've not seen that brilliance, of course, in his game. Even the game he played against Musetti was leading, if not because of that type of
leading, true.
Djokovic would have been, sent home in that particular encounter. So, I think for me, against Sinner, who has been very, very impressive, so far in this competition, it's really going to be difficult for Novak Djokovic, except, he step up his game. And if you look at it, Djokovic has not been that very much, lucky against Sinner. If you take a look at their meetings, it's always been a very, very heated encounter. So, you take a look at it, form-wise, Sinner is more informed than Djokovic in this tournament. You might talk about, experience, but experience at this point in time, I don't think will be what will help Novak Djokovic, because we're not seeing that strength. Okay. We're not seeing that brilliance, of course, from him on the court. So I don't think experience might play. It's all going to boil down to who has the best form in this particular encounter. That's why I said this might probably be the end of the road for Novak Djokovic, taking a look at how bad and how poor he's been so far in the tournaments.
For Yannick Sinner himself, he also struggled against Ben Shelton, and that encounter. Yes, he was able to win, but then he struggled big time in some of the serve. And a lot of people will tell you that when you play against Novak Djokovic with his experience, sometimes it's at this point a lot is at stake. So I'm just wondering, how he's going to navigate through, because no two games are alike. In recent time, Yannick Sinner has been the one stopping Novak Djokovic in big games. It's easier for Novak Djokovic to play Alcaraz than to play Yannick Sinner. Yannick Sinner has not given him a breathing space. And I'm just wondering, what kind of tactics will he come up with a day? Or it looks like he has already given up, because he struggled to serve. the ball was also hitting the net. It was error strewn and all that. And I'm just wondering, Djokovic is yet to clock those big 40s and all that, you know. But I'm just wondering, when you are at that age, you know, 41, 42, 43, and maybe I can begin to think that you are winding down your career, but at this level, it's still within the 40 range. And I'm asking myself, you know, can he rejuvenate what he did at the Olympic? And maybe go one more step further. That could, you know, motivate him. Because when you play in the finals, that could motivate you. Anything can happen. Otherwise, nobody would have given a chance to Madison Keys to win against Aryna Sabalenka. So I'm just thinking, you know, this might just be the only time he might have, except something happens in other Grand Slams.
Yeah, except something happens in other Grand Slam. But when you take a look at Djokovic, I think age is really telling on him. The man is either 38 or 39 now. It's close to 40. And at that age range of 38, 39, 40 or 40 something, you won't perform as a player at the age of 21, 22, 23. No matter how good or brilliant, of course, you know, you are. Age would definitely tell on you. You can't cheat nature. All right. In football, we saw it, you know, when Zlatan, of course, did it. He was almost 40. He was still playing, but still yet he wasn't really at his best. So at this point in time, age really telling on the man as well. You could see that somehow your strength will drop. That's the thing. You cannot really cheat your body. You might be athletics, you know, and all of that, but the more you're growing, the more your strength drops. All right. You could only be that much a little bit physical. But when it comes to you participating in sports, definitely your strength will drop. And if you ask me, it's really telling on him. You cannot compare the strength of Novak Djokovic at this point to Jannik Sinner, who is very much young and has the energy and have everything to play for. Djokovic, what has been counting for him so far since he clocked 35 has been his experience. That is what has been sustaining the man. And this time around, you could look at it that, especially in this Australian,
it's all about strength now.
Yeah, it's all about the strength. He doesn't really have the strength. I think he's just depending much, of course, on his experience. And you ask yourself, how far will his experience carry him? Especially at this point in time when the likes of Jannik Sinner cars are dominating. He's waiting until he gets his 25th Grand Slam. Will he ever get it? When Jannik Sinner and Alcaraz are busy looking for Grand Slams, you know, like this. So it's really going to be a very tough one for him. And coupled with this poor performance we're seeing at this point in time, it might not be an easy one for him. That's why I said he might not be lucky the third time, especially against Jannik Sinner this time. It will be a different ball game entirely. I'm not seeing Novak Djokovic, you know, stopping Jannik Sinner tomorrow.
What if he's lucky?
I think
a lot of us will start thinking the other way around.
Will he be lucky down to the final? That's the thing. If maybe Alcaraz beats Zverev, you know, if you tend to meet Alcaraz in the final, that would be another different thing, because Alcaraz will not be so merciful. He will not be so merciful.
A young man who is determined to make history by winning the slams, yeah, for himself. So you see, it can be very distinct when you are going in for a career Grand Slam like he is. He just gets to that level, and I tell you, these guys, they want to win this now at this age, because they know that anything can happen. They may not be as fortunate as Roger Federer, what's the king of clay, Rafael Nadal, and then Novak himself, because a lot of guys are coming up, you know. So we'll get to keep our finger crossed on that one and see how far it goes. Tomorrow it will be a very big moment for that. Alcaraz and the semi-finals. We'll get to see how the guys will play out tomorrow. But the semi-finalists have come and gone, because the finalists are set to be seen on Saturday, you know, in the female scene, because Aryna Sabalenka is through to the finals of this year's Australian Open. Same with Elena Rybakina, who is also through to the finals. Elena Rybakina got the better of Jessica Pegula in fantastic fashion, 6-3, you know, 7-6, the tie break there. It ended, and then for Aryna Sabalenka, he was able to all-start Elena Vitolina. You know, not many would have given her a chance, but she showed class, 6-2, 6-3. When you see a player, you know, yet to lose, drop a set, it tells you that, come on, she's not taking anything for granted. Don't forget that this is also one of our best Grand Slams when it comes to the majors. But last stage, eluded her. She got to the finals and lost against Iga Swiatek. Just maybe she's coming back for another time to reclaim back what she has lost.
Yeah, let's just see what comes up. We look forward to see how this one, of course, will go down. It's really going to be a little bit tricky, and I just hope that Irina Sabalenka will be able to hold her own, because I think Elena Rybakina will really give her a run for her money. When you take a look at how far she's played, you take a look at that game against Jessica Pegula, ended 6-7, 6-3, 6-7. Of course, was a highly contested encounter. So I think Irina Sabalenka, despite her impressive form, she should be careful in that encounter, because when you take a look at the impressive, the prowess so far of from Elena Rybakina, you say she also stand a very huge chance, in that particular final. So let's just see what comes up. For Sabalenka, I think she's been impressive since last season. She's been dominating the female category. If you look at it, Iga Swiatek, somehow nowhere close to Irina Sabalenka now when it comes to form, as it stands. She's been getting down to the finals, winning trophies, for herself. And I think for me, it's very impressive run. We expect to see a very high level of dominance, from Irina Sabalenka in the WTA, because it looks as if nobody is competing with her now. The Iga Swiatek we thought was going to really, compete with her. She's not giving her best. I think she was also out in the quarterfinals, of the competition. So I think it's been an impressive run, but we'll just look forward to see what the final holds for her. Let's just see if she'll be able to get this one. If she gets it, I think it will be a huge one for Irina Sabalenka.
A huge one for Irina Sabalenka against Elena Rybakina, the Kazakhstan. And of course, we'll get to see how both of them will ply their trade, at the Rod Lava Arena come Saturday. It promises to be another moment, but how have you seen the affairs of the Australian Open when it comes to, it's been 2 weeks now. A lot of people started, it was like a house on fire. For the first time in a very long while, we did not see early, upset. Yes, maybe from the round of 16 quarterfinals, was other things, but there was no major upset except for, a certain qualifier who got to at least the quarterfinals before she was shown the exit door, But I think when you look at the organization, players have complained about the heat. Some have complained that the cameras were even like a Big Brother Africa house, where they now put the cameras into where they are even changing, just to create excitement, according to the statements from the organizer. But in all of this, how will you make up the general organization and the planning of this year's Australian Open?
For me, I think it has not been bad, apart from the effects, from the heat down there.
That's more like 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, too much. If you take a look at it, some of the players, they have to retire from their game. Some, they were a bit frustrated. Some couldn't really, control themselves, while playing due to the severe nature of the weather, down there in Australia. So apart from the heat issue, I think we didn't really see much of, lapses in terms of the organization. And I think for me, going forward, the organizers should try most of the time to see what they could do, because we hear that if the heat was even overpowering the ACs, in the courts. All right, even when there were much ACs, it was still heat, and all that. So I think going forward, there should be a means where they could actually tackle this heat, because some of these players are not used to such, weather conditions. Some of them are coming from a country that is very cold. All right, so talk about the British players.
Exactly.
The likes of Emma Raducanu, Cameron Norrie. That's why they were even maybe hosted out earlier in the competition. So they couldn't really cope. So I think for me, the organizers, all right, should try most of the can to see how they can, tackle this issue of heat and all of that. For the camera issue, I think that's the way the organizers sell the competition. That's why they sell the competition. Those behind the scenes,
vibe is what creates, and yes, it's the digital world for them. Yeah, so
it's what people want to watch. Oh, what? Coco Gauff smashing her rackets. After maybe
they wouldn't have seen it ordinarily, but they get to,
that's the only way they sell it. So I think the only time or the only moments you're not going to be on camera, maybe for any tennis tournament, is when you're in your house. But once you come for the tournament, you are making money for the tournament. Don't forget, you'll be paid no matter where you stop, in the tournament at the end. So the tournament organizers must make money. They must make sure the visibility of the tournament is out there. Those behind the scenes clips are what sell the tournament. Oh, why Irina Sabalenka was walking at the tournament, she was crying. They filmed that, and people were like, "Oh, sorry," and all of that. So these are the things that sell the tournament, and I don't think.
And players like Iga Swiatek were not happy. They started thinking that are they animals in the zoo where they are just observed and all that.
But the truth, you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
People want to watch you.
See you everything.
You know, when seeing you be frustrated is send message to
In fact, the behind the scene attractions, create some lot of fun. People talk about it more because ordinarily they will not get to see it.
Yes.
But that's what they want to see. They want to see those emotions.
They want to see your reaction. Maybe you lost a game. How were you able to react? If fine and good, just look for a way like for that of Coco Gauff. She said she managed to control her emotions and went down, I think, down to the tunnel or the dressing room before she can even vent an anger by smashing her racket. She found that the camera was still on her. And all of that. So, for me, I think the best thing you can do, just try most of the time to leave the environment. And go and cry wherever.
No, but, I could see the video clip. I could see the picture clip of, that smashing of the racket yesterday. I also saw that one. I took my time to watch some of those games, okay, because of the GMT, in time. And so sometimes I'm awake to get to see how it is happening. Yeah, that's Coco Gauff. They're smashing, her racket. Unknown to her that the whole world, getting to see, especially fans live at the court. And also Ben Shilton, when Yannick Sinner was making his post-match reaction on court, they were just showing Ben Shilton without shirt, untying his lace, lacing out his boot and all that. And it was fun, truly, I must say. But away from that now, let's hope that now that we have seen the finalists emerge in the female version of the Australian Open, we hope that by tomorrow too, we'll get to see Yannick Sinner, Novak Djokovic in the finals, or maybe Alexander Zverev and a certain Carlos Alcaraz also in the final. But then, before we leave the Australian Open finally, Kingsley, the underdogs, they are nowhere to match these big guys this time around. I'm just wondering, it's been a long time where the underdogs were truly underdogs. I mean, there's no statement of intent, no shocker, none of them go to at least semi-final. Everything was just the way we expected. The big guys, big girls came to the party and they delivered.
Yeah, I think it was just look at it properly. It was tournaments for the top players. The underdogs, they tried at some point. I expected a whole lot from the likes of Victoria and Boko, in this one. The likes of Mira and Driva. I expected a lot from her. You talk about the other lady as well, trying to recall her name, at this point in time. They didn't really put up, a very high level of performance, and they were being ousted out at the earlier stage of the competition. That was a lady, I think, from China. Is it Len Sten? Something like that. She had a very impressive performance. I think she ousted out Dara Kasakina. Was a very impressive one from her, but she couldn't really go far. You take a look at the male category. Some of the guys, we expected to have stepped up their performance. Of course, couldn't really find it easy, especially the way you take a look at the fact that we still have this duopoly of Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. You still have the likes of Medvedev. You still have the likes of what's the name again? Alexander Zverev as well. In the mix, it's really going to be difficult. I expected a whole lot from the likes of Francis Tiafoe. You talk about Cerudolo. Tsitsipas is also, we could maybe rate him as one of the big guys as well. So I think for me, the big guys were just very much ready, and that's why these other younger players, of course, couldn't really have a good time, at the Australian Open.
Of course, the Australian Open is still ongoing, and finalists have emerged. Hopefully, we'll get to see where the pendulum will swing to in the men's finals tomorrow. We're going to a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, still Sports Extraordinary on Thursday. And of course, the centerpiece of discussion will be centered majorly on the UEFA Champions League. We talked about the Australian Open. Let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League a little before we head straight to all that transpired yesterday night in Europe. We were just tracking some of the results of games continuation in the Nigerian Premier Football League match, the 23, and the Kingsley Bayelsa United, played the goalless draw with Niger Tornadoes. When we talk about this yesterday, I knew for sure that it will not be an easy one for Bayelsa United, trying to get all the 3 points, and certainly they dropped 2 points at home against Niger Tornadoes.
Yeah, for me, I think wasn't really a good one. We hope to see the best, of course, from them going forward in the competition. There's a whole lot, of course, to still play for, in the league this time around. So I believe if they can be able to strengthen themselves, they can continue, of course, to put up some impressive performance going forward.
For Bayelsa United themselves, if you look at the way they have gone so far, you ask yourself, with this result now, it's not a good one at all because, yes, they are within the 13th position with 28 points, but then they are also very close to the relegation because 28 points, the difference is just about 4 points separating them and those in the 17th position. So you see, a drawing point at home or dropping major point at home can be very devastating, especially as we, inch close, to the second phase or as we begin the second phase of the season.
Yeah, not a good one. I think it's time for them to start, grabbing the points as soon as possible. As it stands now, you take a look at Bayelsa United. They've not been that, formidable. They've not really been a highly contested side, in the Nigerian Premier Football League for some time now. And I really wonder, they've just managed to always remain, in the league. And I think they really have to do something. If they have to maybe get a very good coach, they should try and see if maybe they can get someone that could help stabilize the side. Not just also getting a good coach, getting the right players that will help them. Bayelsa United, for the past 3 or 4 seasons, they've not been challenging. They've just been there in the Nigerian Premier Football League, and that is not a very good one. I believe, every season they aim to win the league, but at the end of the day, they see themselves, struggling. So, something should be done to make sure that, they put up, something huge. When it comes to sports in Bayelsa, they're very good in sports. It comes to athletics, wrestling, and all of that, but football has not really been that, very fantastic. So I think it's then time for them to look forward to see how to put up a very impressive performance, seeing how to grab, the necessary points before the season comes to an end.
While Niger Tornadoes, with that point now, they are now 7th on the log in the Nigerian Premier Football League, and we hope to even, consolidate on those away points. Let's move on. Warriors defeated Remo Stars this afternoon. 1-0 it ended there, and this can be very exciting for teams like Warriors.
Very exciting for Warriors, but it's a very disappointing one for Remo Stars. They continue to struggle despite being the defending champion, of the league. It's not a very good one at all, for Remo Stars. Last time we saw that clash between them and Ikorodu City, where the fans ended up fighting each other and all of that, destroying the boss of Ikorodu City, and now they're beaten by Warriors, another team that is struggling as well. So I think there's something really missing in that Remo Stars team. This was not how they were in the last 3 seasons, where they were qualifying for the CAF Champions League, for 3 good seasons, even won the league the last time, and now they are struggling. So something is wrong. It's either maybe the inconsistency of the coach, talking about Ogumudede, who has been in and out of the team, or the players. They don't really have that players that could help them carry out, their matches, properly. So I think something is really wrong. For Remo Stars to be struggling at this point in time, something is wrong. Don't forget they are privately owned, and they're supposed to be one of the most serious side. Looking at the fact that their support is not coming from the government, it's coming from the owner of the site, talking about Kunde Tsunami. So a whole lot needs to be put in. Remo Stars are not supposed to find themselves where they are at this point in time. They should be looking forward to fighting for continental sports, going to the CAF Champions League, see how they can make money from the CAF Champions League. You play in the preliminary stage of the CAF Champions League, you make money. You go to the group stage, you make money. Rivers United, no matter how poor, of course, they play in this country, they'll be coming back with money. So I think if you take a look at the nature of the league, you don't have anything to earn or to get. You're being given 200 million naira if you win the league. What
Which
would
is not
that,
even, which
not
is
enough.
also equal to the amount you
So,
spend in the season.
as a privately owned team, you should be looking forward to get to the top to make sure you grab, money to sustain yourself. Kule Tsunami is really doing a lot. He pays these players every month, and then he transports them to different match venue for 38 match days. You know what it means? A whole lot of money being sunken into the team. At the end of the day, they are struggling. It could be frustrating for the owner. These are what makes some privately owned teams disband and then leave the league because of means of sustenance. If they don't put up the impressive performance, you end up not getting anything. No, at the end, you have to say how many players have they even sold this season. We hear okay, that is how they sustain themselves by selling players to Hero. But how many players have Remo Stars sold? All right, I think Beyond Limit probably might be doing their work a bit, to sustain them. But for Remo Stars, they should be very, very much, intentional, for their sustenance in the league going forward.
Of course, other results we saw, Bender Insurance played a goalless draw with Barua FC. Ikorodu City defeated Shooting Stars 1-0, and Kun Khalifat were 1-0 better off than Kwara United. So as it stands now, in the stand, if we look at the stand after the yesterday game and today's encounter, Rivers United still tops, with 41 points, and then Nasarawa United are second with 39 points. Ikorodu City are third. For me, Ikorodu City looks more viable, to get something more than the Nasarawa United. But Nasarawa United, they were able to also pick maximum, a good point yesterday, even if it was a job or somehow that would have been enough for them. Abia Warriors, they are also seated in a very lovely position. They are fourth on the log, Enugu Rangers fifth, and Shooting Stars. So a lot of expectation, but gradually now we are beginning to see after March 30, maybe by then we'll get to see a clear glimpse of the title contenders in this year's Nigeria Premier Football League.
Yeah, but we'll just look forward to see what comes up. But you take a look at the likes of Nasarawa United, you talk about Ikorodu City. They've been very, very much optimistic. I'm still surprised with the sudden rise of Ikorodu City, because when they started the season, after getting promoted to the MP4, they were struggling, losing games back to back. But the way things just suddenly changed for them is very, very surprising. And look at them now contending for the league title. So it's really, really a surprising one for me.
I think that being a club in Lagos, if you have the commercial plans, and because they attract a lot of sponsors. Yeah. If you have, this is the only club that plays in the Nigeria Premier Football League, and sponsorship can also come from the state government. So maybe when they came in, they were not a lot fine-tuning, because I had to dig deep too to discover that the government initially was not in support. But because it's Lagos thing now, whether it's just like Goran and Rivers United, if Goran FC had stayed and they are doing well, government will have no choice but to support them. Though that's what happened to them, and I think that the structure is gradually growing. The momentum, the belief is there that, come on, if Remo Stars can do it, if MFM can do it some time ago, then we too, we can do it. And I think that that's what they are doing. But then for Enyimba Football Club, a lot has been happening. I will talk about that on the business side of sports on our sister show, over the weekend. But then let's move away from that and let's focus more on the UEFA Champions League. Kingsley, yesterday night we saw the last lap of the UEFA Champions League, and if you look at the way the things have panned out, you will not be surprised with some of the results. Let's take you through some of the results and then we'll look at it critically. AS Monaco played the goalless draw with Juventus yesterday. We'll tell you the implication of some of this result. Ajax lost at home to Olympiacos, and you can know why Ajax have been eliminated. Arsenal struggled in a 5-goal thrill against Kariak Almaty. Atletico Club played at lost to Sporting CP, at 3-2 it ended. Atletico Madrid also lost to Bodo Glimt at the Wanda Metropolitano, 2-1 it ended. Barca, Camp Nou defeated Copenhagen. Even if they came back, it was a comeback win for them. They are Bayer Leverkusen also sank the Yellow Submarines of Villarreal, at their home background. Benfica in Lisbon, we are 4-2 better off than Real Madrid, and Jose Mourinho was a very exciting coach yesterday. Borussia Dortmund lost at the Signal Iduna Park to Inter Milan. Club Brugge were 3-0 better off than Marseille. We saw Eintracht Frankfurt struggled in Germany to play against Tottenham Hotspur. 2-0 ended in favor of the English team, and Karabakh lost to Liverpool 6-0 thrashing. Galatasaray a team I thought could do something, could not hold their firepower because they lost to Manchester City 2-0. Napoli struggled at the Armando Maradona Stadium against Chelsea, but they couldn't do the needful. Chelsea got that particular one, much to the delight of Liam Rossino, the manager of Chelsea Football Club. PSV Eindhoven have been eliminated because they lost yesterday to Bayern Munich at home 1-0. By force, the Cyprus team there got 2-1 against Slava Prague, and then it was 4-1 against Slava Prague. Paris Saint-Germain at the Parc des Princes struggled to keep Newcastle United at bay because the game ended 1-1. St. Jolis defeated Atlanta, and that ensured that Atlanta will not have enough time, to go on with what is happening in the UEFA Champions League. So let's look at the teams that have made it to the top 8. We have Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Barcelona, Chelsea Football Club, Sporting Lisbon, and Manchester City. Kinsley, take a look at the results. Real Madrid, okay. No, let's go back. Let's go back to the teams that have made it, because we're going to start from there and look at the run of this team so far. Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Liverpool. These teams have shown strength. Tottenham Hotspur, Barcelona, Chelsea, and Sporting Lisbon, as well as Manchester City. Which is your biggest surprise? Who made it through to the top 8?
Biggest surprise for me, getting the automatic qualification, because for me, I think you take a look at that list. One is Tottenham Hotspur for me. They started the season very poorly. I think Thomas Frank, the coach of the side, really came to change things for them, especially in the UEFA Champions League. I didn't actually have it in mind that Tottenham Hotspur will get automatic qualification in the UEFA Champions League, where you have Real Madrid, you have Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus. They put up a very impressive surprise down there. Another thing that also surprised me is Sporting. After Ruben Amorim left, I don't think they were that much consistent, but they, of course, were able to put up a very impressive performance to skate through automatically to the round of 16. And Arsenal also impressed me as well. 8 games played, 8 games won. First team to ever do so in the league phase, for the UEFA Champions League. So for me, those were the teams that really, of course, surprised me in the Champions League.
And then you look at the playoffs contenders: Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle United, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Atlanta, Bayern Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, Olympiacos, Club Brugge, Galatasaray, Monaco, Karabakh, and Bodo Glimt, Benfica. A lot of people will tell you that Bodo Glimt should not be here, but somehow 2 wins ensure that they seed a ticket for themselves.
Yeah, and it's been an impressive one for a team who do not have much experience of the UEFA Champions League, coming up to stage a very impressive performance. You will give them that benefit of a doubt that they can do the unthinkable. So what they did against Manchester City, and also what they did yesterday, I think that was against Atletico Madrid. It was a very, very surprising performance for me. I didn't really see that coming, at all, for Bodo Glimt. They've really shown strength, and I just hope that, they were able to skate through, in the playoff, because that's where it becomes very, very tough. But so far, so good. I think for a club like Bodo Glimt, right, they've really done enough for themselves. Getting down to the playoff of the UEFA Champions League, remember, there's going to be a certain amount of money that they will gain. So that's a very huge financial gain, for Bodo Glimt, as it stands. So for me, I think it's a good one for what they've done. We just hope that they'll be able to keep up with this level of play and see if they can skate through, via the playoff.
And of course, if you look at, one thing that also surprised me is the fact that Benfica struggled, to make it through. That win against Real Madrid ensured that if Real Madrid had won, I'm not sure that they would have had this. They would be fortunate enough to get that, qualification. But somehow they were able to get it. And I think that the Swiss format is getting more. Well, a lot of people are loving it now, because at the end of the day, it still boils down to the same thing. You get to see the pairing, because just 8 teams will qualify, and it makes it become very difficult. So you have to be very consistent. Could that be the reason why some teams are consistent, like Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Hotspur, very consistent, and Arsenal are consistent in the UEFA Champions League and not consistent in the domestic league?
This format is just like it's a league format. So every game matters. Any 3 points matters. At this point in time, because it gives you the chance of maybe qualifying, maybe being the top 8, or maybe being in the playoff zone. At the end of the day, so you have to try as much as you can to pick 3 points in any game, of course, that you play. It's not the issue of home and away thing again. Like it's okay if I come to draw your home, then I go back to my home. You come pick away points, and all of that. So for me, I think it has really made the team more serious. No matter the opponents you're facing, you want to be focused on, by all means. So for me, I think that's what we've seen so far in this format. And from what it is, we look forward to see what comes up. But you take a look at clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid in the playoff. These are teams I don't expect, of course, to be playing in the playoff. They should have gotten automatic qualification. On the other side, we talk about Borussia Dortmund as well. These are other teams I expected to have gotten automatic qualification, but you could see the intensity, of the game. That's why, it's become very difficult for this team. So you have to fight to the end to ensure that, of course, you get through to the next round of the competition.
And so let's take a look at teams that have been eliminated now from the league. If you look at the way you get Marseille, Pafos, Union St. Gilles, PSV, Athletic Club, Napoli, FC Copenhagen, Ajax, Eintracht Frankfurt, Slava Praha, Villarreal, and Karat Almaty. I think the big names there should be Napoli. Napoli, I don't know what is happening to Antonio Conte and his guys, but it looks as though a lot of struggle, for them there. And I tell you that it's not losing at home too. Yesterday also didn't do them any good.
It looks like Antonio Conte is not a Champions League coach, because the man has always found it difficult in executing games in the Champions League. He has always found it very, very difficult. It's good in the league, the Italian Serie A.
But even in the league, he's struggling now. He's gradually struggling.
He's struggling, but last season I think he had a good time, with them. We understand sometimes struggle can come, but you take a look at his managerial career. I talked about Antonio Conte. He has found it difficult to be able to lead a team in the UEFA Champions League. Also, unfortunately, they played against Chelsea and they were home yesterday. They would have capitalized on home advantage to take that one, but they let it slide. So I think for me it was so unfortunate. Probably the thing of the near success syndrome thing, or maybe Conte not having it well in the Champions League, probably played in that encounter yesterday. It was so unfortunate, for them. But you talk about other teams like the likes of Pafos. Talk about Karat Almaty, teams that actually made their debut this time, of course, in the UEFA Champions. I think it was a very poor one for them. Probably is an experience. At least Pafos managed to finish in a bit of a comfortable position. It all matters on how much they'll be going home with at this point in time. Participating in the Champions League,
it's big money.
It's a huge amount of money for them. I think going forward, they can go and be able to reinforce the team. With the hope that they can possibly bounce back and be able to put up a good challenge.
Bounce back and put up a good challenge, and that takes us now to the last lap of the show, because the games will be played also in the Europa League tonight across board, and of course we hope to bring you some of those. Aston Villa will take on FC Salzburg, Marseille will take on Victoria Pleasant, Celtic will take on FC Utrecht, Dinamo Zagreb will travel to FC Midtjylland to play them there. Same for Rangers, who will travel to Porto. Other games will come up, this evening. For the UEFA Europa League, Unai Emery looks like he understands this terrain very well, and he wants to hold on. After all, the big guys, nobody will be crossing over to the other side, so it makes it very easy for him. So he understands that, come on, if I do my best, I could stand a chance of winning this one.
I think he stands a very good chance, especially when you take a look at how well Aston Villa has been. They are one of the league contenders in the Premier League. So with a coach like Antonio Conte, I beg your pardon, Unai Emery, who understands the Europa League, he has won it before. So I think it's a good one. Aston Villa, I believe they have a very huge chance of going very far in this one.
Many thanks to you, Kinsley, for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Airport Temple is my name. We'll be back again tomorrow for the Friday edition of Sports Extraordinary. For now, many thanks to you for being part of the conversation. Continue to enjoy, and also your comments will be desired, on the comment post there. We'll come your way again tomorrow. Stay locked and enjoy the best of programs from Atlantic Television Network. Bye-bye.